Ukraine did it, because Russians were obliterated not in 3, not in 4, but in 5 major battles. At the same time, Russians already lost more than 2,600 tanks. Their losses are up 95%. And this is not to mention that a major Russian airfield in Crimea has been recently attacked. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude, still sick, but getting better. And to begin with, let's talk about the attack of Ukrainians against one of Russian major airfields located in Crimean Peninsula, which is called Belbek, as you can see located right here, relatively far from the front lines. According to the Ministry of Defense of Russia, Russians were able to intercept all of these metallic cylinders. Then the question is, why there were these loud noises? And they said that the reason there was a fire, it is because the debris fell on the territory of the airfield. But in reality, the Russian losses are the following: 1 Su-30 fighter jet, 2 Su-27s, 12 Russian soldiers, and 10 of them were injured. And this is only relatively recently confirmed information. But that's not the only thing that happened in the south of Ukraine, because right here also Ukrainians were able to target and heavily damaged a Russian multiple launch rocket system called Grad. Unfortunately, it is still functioning, but it is once again heavily damaged. And guys, as you can hear, I'm still sick. Probably not as sick as yesterday, but still approximately 3 to 4 out of 10 I am recovering. Most likely it is thanks to you liking and subscribing my yesterday's video, so let's do it once again today. So in the next couple of days I'll be fully recovered, guys. All you need to do is to simply like this video, subscribe to my channel, we get to 240,000 and the Russian dude is fully recovered. Guaranteed. You can also follow me on Instagram, the link is down below. And so yes, now let's talk about the update from the east of Ukraine, where Russians suffered at least 5 major losses in the last several days. And then I'm gonna give you mind-blowing statistics. But first of all, just a really quick stop on the territory of Russia in St. Petersburg, where yet another attack reportedly by a Ukrainian drone happened. And this time a factory which was allegedly producing lubricants for the Russian military included, it has been the target of this attack. And it is worth mentioning, just in case, that this is the lubrication for the military vehicles, not for the soldiers. And also it is worth mentioning that the distance between the Ukrainian closest border and St. Petersburg, where this attack happened, is estimated to be at 855 kilometers, which once again confirms the fact that Ukrainians most likely are using their so-called secret weapon, which turns out to be, looks like, a drone. And unfortunately, whenever Ukrainians they continuously attack military-related objects, the response of Russians is to target defenseless, unprotected civilian neighborhoods in Ukraine, such as, for example, right here is the video from Kharkiv showing the consequences of one of such recent attacks. And just overall, unfortunately, it is estimated that Russia at this very moment has approximately 842 metallic cylinders of various types. And speaking more about Kharkiv, next to its front line, Russians were showing off so much and spreading this video on their propaganda channels, saying that they destroyed another Ukrainian IRIS-T system which was sent to them by the West. And once again they showed this video, but apparently these were only decoys. Ukrainians released this video showing the fake installations, fake so-called military vehicles, and they said that one of them was unfortunately destroyed in Kharkiv. The good thing about this is that the cost of the decoy is approximately $10,000 and the metallic cylinders that Russians used to destroy it is approximately $1 million or so. But at the same time, a very real heavy drone of Ukrainians called Baba Yaga, which by the way is one of their most recent developments, destroyed a very big position of Russians in Donetsk region, and reportedly at least 11 military vehicles were destroyed, 2 Russian soldiers were eliminated, and 4 of them heavily injured. But that's not even the best part, because Ukrainians were able to inflict a major devastation on the Russian forces on only last several days and obliterated the Russian positions at least in 5 different spots only in the east of Ukraine. So let's talk about this right now. And this very first place is located in Terne, right here, where, as you can see from this video, multiple Russian assaults were successfully repelled by Ukrainians, and recently even another cemetery of the Russian military vehicles appeared around this area, to the north, south, and to the center, west, is pretty much everywhere, across, near to this settlement. And just once again, this is the result of only last several days, where Ukrainians were able to achieve this significant progress, without either of the sides even advancing next to Terni that much. So this was a massive victory by Ukrainians recently, and the full video of the compilation of the destruction of the Russian assaults will be, as always, available on my Patreon, link is down below. You can also get early access to fully uncensored episodes of the Russian Dude way before they go live on YouTube. This is also the best way to support the channel, the link is down below, guys. Thank you so much. Our next stop brings us to Crimea, where Russians suffered another massive losses. Reportedly, one of the recent unsuccessful attempts of Russians cost them one tank, one infantry fighting vehicle, and couple of assault groups of highly elite airborne troops. So pretty much this is the second place where Ukrainians were able to inflict massive damage to the Russian invaders. And those who were still not being eliminated, they started running away as fast as possible, obviously not achieving any single progress in this assault. The third place where Ukrainians inflicted maximum damage to Russians is located in Stepovye, already closer to Avdiivka front line, where reportedly another unsuccessful assault of Russians brought them completely no progress. And then Ukrainians were eliminating the military vehicles, such as infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and tanks, which Russians abandoned next to this settlement. And the fourth place where Ukrainians were able to destroy Russians, well, actually, guys, can you guess it? Please let me know in the comments where do you think was the next place where Ukrainians were able to successfully eliminate Russian invaders. 3, 2, 1... Yes, this place is Avdiivka. And just in couple of most recent assaults, Russians lost 9 tanks, 4 infantry fighting vehicles, 5 armored personnel carriers, and 6 other military vehicles. And then there is also this Twitter account, X account, which shows the losses of Russians just in Avdiivka alone. And the guy just keeps scrolling and scrolling down for more than 1 minute, showing losses of Russians every single day. The full video of these Russian losses in Avdiivka is also on my Patreon. And ultimately, the fifth place where Russians were completely obliterated is located in Novomikhailivka. And just as a result of these unsuccessful attempts, Russians lost a total of 15 armored military vehicles, which are 7 tanks, 6 infantry fighting vehicles, and 2 military vehicles which were not identified. They were just extremely destroyed. And so right now, guys, prepare for truly mind-blowing statistics. So, according to one of the most recent British intelligence reports from the last 3rd of January, this is approximately when Russians intensified their assault attempts along the eastern front line. And such as reportedly in these last 10 days or so, the number of assault attempts increased by 24%. But at the same time, the percentage loss of the infantry increased by 15%. The percentage loss of military vehicles increased by 88%. And get ready for this, Russian losses of their tanks increased by 95%. And speaking about the losses of the Russian tanks since the beginning of the war until now, according to another report by British intelligence, the total number of the Russian tanks lost is equals to 2,600 plus, with 4,900 more other military vehicles also being destroyed. And just for a moment, this massive increase of the Russian losses in only under the last couple of weeks brought them absolutely no progress along the eastern front lines. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you bring more people, when you bring more military vehicles, when you increase the assaults, you have to capture or invade at least something. That's not the case with the Russian army, which, to say the least, makes the Ministry of Defense of Russia to be a little bit incompetent, but I do not think that Ukrainians are complaining much about it. And just once again, every war is cyclical. First one country attacks another defense and then they switch sides. So right now we are in the stage of the Russian offensive, which is pretty much non-existent. Eventually, a couple of months later, it will be Ukraine's time to attack, and after such heavy losses from the Russian army, it will be relatively easier, at least a little bit easier for Ukrainians to counterattack. Also, because spring and summer is coming, so there will be not as cold and there will be not that much mud across the fields. It will make it a little bit easier for Ukrainians to advance as well. And as always, no matter what, if I'm sick or not, if I can talk, I will keep making those videos. So guys, please once again just subscribe to my channel if you do appreciate this line of work of mine. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much my patrons for your support, and see you tomorrow.